Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're reviewing the Kizer Pioneer. Pretty sure this is in their X series. That's how it looks on the website. If I'm wrong about that, I apologize, but it's not as expensive as some of the other X series if that is the case. This one is the premium version. You can also get it in a little bit cheaper of a version with a different steel and different bolster material. Your premium one comes with a two-tone S35VN drop point blade or clip point blade, or you can get it, I think these run around $99 for a blasted tumbled blade, aluminum bolsters, black linen micarta, and this one's in Nitro V stainless steel. But I tested this one, so this one's going to be the one that we talk about for the most part. This is another design by LF Designs. Nice EDC size at 7.43 inches overall with a 3.2 inch, like I said, drop point blade. It's a very big belly drop point. Nice top swedge for some flair. You do have some functional jimping up top on this one. It's not super aggressive, but it does offer a little bit of traction. I definitely prefer a lower tip drop point. However, I carried this one way more than I ever expected to. You have dual thumb studs that stay out of the cutting path. This one has a black PVD coated primary and top swedge and spine. And then your flats have a nice satin finish on them. A nice robust tip there for piercing and doing a little bit of tip work, twisting and turning. You should be fine. I'm going to call that a decent sharpening choil. You should have, I'd say, 3 or 4 sharpenings before you have to worry about it. And like I said earlier, blade steel on this one is CPM S35VN. Your blade stock thickness is coming in at 0.14 inches with a flat grind that comes down to around 22 thousandths behind the edge. Should be a fairly slicey blade because of that nice deep belly. Let's find out. The knife came really sharp out of box from Kizer, but the reason why I don't like these deep belly drop points, you can see me in the beginning how I slid out of the cut several times, and that's going to be the case if you're trying to cut a longer piece, and I'm not even really trying to cut longer pieces here. You got to really slow down and think about your cut. Almost have to do a push cut to make it get through the entire length of what I was cutting. Which is fine, but you know, usually when I'm breaking down boxes, I got a bunch to break down because I'm putting them in a recycle bin. I don't want to do it quickly, so whatever knife's in my pocket, that's which one I go to town with. And yeah, now we're testing the ergos, and we're gonna start out light, increase the pressure a little bit more as we go. And you know, I'm choked up because that's where I feel the most comfortable. But when I got to that portion right there, that pocket clip, the way it sits up, was really kind of bearing down into my palm. It wasn't terrible, but it was definitely not the most comfortable. Now it looks like I'm struggling there, but I'm really not. I'm trying to see how little pressure I can cut into the rope and whether it's going to grab the rope or it's going to want to push cut. So it's doing a little bit of both. You know, of course, I like them to where they just grab the rope right away and cut it right away, but not bad at all. It had enough bite for me to comfortably do this. And then this is where the belly is going to really shine, because it's really conducive to cutting on a flat cutting surface, because you can use that belly to do like a saw in motion cut, a push cut where you're pushing that belly into whatever you're cutting. You can start from the tip to the belly, however you want to do it. It's just going to be a lot easier just because of the way it's set up and the fact that you're cutting down. I thought it was comfortable enough in the pinch grip, no problem. And the edge felt like it held on really well. You know, I've noticed here lately, I don't know if Kizer has increased their HRC or something on some of their knives, because they haven't really messed with their edge bevels. They're still about the same thickness, or at least the last ones I've checked, but they've been lasting a lot longer in my opinion. So that's awesome. I always love to see that. You'll never hear me complain about that. Being that tip's so high, using the belly is the easiest method. You're going to have to go to a complete 90-degree angle to use that tip. It just doesn't make sense. Did notice just a tad bit of drag from that PVD coating on that bare piece of tubing. Not as much on the dense corner cardboard. And at this point, you know, sometimes some of these knives are slowing down. This one never checked up at all. It felt like it did in the very beginning. Outstanding job. Well, I enjoyed testing this one. I thought it performed well. It held up well. And as far as ergos go, I thought this one was very comfortable. I could choke up if I want to. If I want to get right up to that edge, just kind of sit right here in that top portion. No matter which way I hold this one, it's nice and comfortable. That pinch grip is nice as well. This one really excelled at doing the cuts on the flat cutting surface because of that deep belly. Now, you don't have a whole lot of straight edge doing in-hand cuts, so you're not going to want to do very long in-hand cuts. If you're breaking down a long cardboard box, toward the end of it, you're going to probably slide out because of that natural curve that your wrist is going to do at the end. Now, this pocket clip didn't bother me, but it is pretty high up there. The scoop right there comes up higher than I like to see, and I just don't love the pocket clip. That's probably my biggest gripe on this one, besides not having any lefty love there. But let's close it up and take a look at the action. So you have the front flipper and you have those thumb studs. Thumb studs are comfortable, and talk about snappy. It makes a nice thwack. When this one hits that stop pin, it thwacks open. Nice fall shut action. Front flipper works good. The jimping could be a little sharper for the front flipper, but I can reliably do it, and I'm not the best at front flipping. I can easily reverse flick that also. Slow roll it if I want. And you can keep contact on that front flipper all the way around. If you want to do a slow roll, the knuckle roll, top flip, reach around. You have a very well-tuned detent on this one, riding on cage ceramic bearings with a ceramic detent ball, giving it that nice fall shut action. The action on this premium version is a lot smoother than the a little bit more affordable version, and it could have a lot to do with break-in, because I've carried and used this one a lot more, opening and closing it a lot more. So this one may become as smooth as this one, but this one came fairly smooth out of box. So take a look at these scales. So you have titanium bolsters on this one, these Blue Canyon Rich Light scales. You have a very slight contour, beautiful softening on all these edges, which in my opinion made it very comfortable. You have pretty much a full length G10 backspacer with some raised portions with some jimps on it. I didn't really notice that all that much during use at all. Does it help out any with grip? I can't really tell. But like I said just a while ago, I think the ergos for my hands were good, as long as this doesn't poke your palm any. Only time I really noticed that kind of happening when I'm choked back a little bit and I'm really bearing down. When I'm choked up, it's not as noticeable. They did a good job of all the finishing work on this one. You got a hidden lanyard spot right here that's integrated into that backspacer. And on this side, your hardware is not exposed as far as like the torque side. You have a blue titanium pivot collar. And on this side, you have the pivot collar as well. Torx TA construction here and here. Now, the pocket clip functions nicely. I just think that was an afterthought. And like I said, I wish the spoon portion wasn't sticking up so high. But it goes in and out of the pocket nicely and rides pretty well in the pocket also. No flipper tab sticking out to where it can get hung up on a phone or something. Your liners in there are titanium that have been anodized and they've been skeletonized to help bring down the weight on this one. Your titanium version's coming in at 3.58 ounces. Your aluminum one's coming in a little bit lighter at 3.49 ounces. So not a huge difference. I couldn't notice the difference in the pocket at least. Even though this is a liner lock, that liner right there is the thickness of most of my frame locks. And the lockup on this one is coming in at around 30 to 40% or so. You do have a hardened stainless steel lock insert in there. You can see the screw kind of sticking out right there. Access to the lock bar is fantastic because this comes down lower. That chamfer is nice and comfortable. I can easily get my thumb in there, no problem whatsoever. No matter how I want to disengage it, it's very easy to manipulate that lock nice and comfortably. The lockup on mine is rock solid. There's no movement up or down, left or right. Exactly what I'm looking for. Now time for some quick size comparisons. As you can see, it's in the middle of the Ontario Rat 1 and 2. It's a good bit smaller than the Spyderco PM2, and it's a little bigger than the Power 3. And lastly, it's very similar in length to the Kizer Mat Rack and the Benchmade Bug Out. Now, being that absolutely no knife perfect, what are my nitpicks and complaints? This one has no lefty love. I think the pocket clip was an afterthought, and I don't like how much kick up they have on that pocket clip because it can become uncomfortable depending on your hand size. Not the biggest deal for me, especially when I'm choked up like that, but I would like to see it knocked down a little bit, and personally, a different clip altogether, because I think it's a good looking knife. Of course, I prefer a lower tip drop point. However, I still really enjoyed this one. I think it looks nice. It was comfortable. The action on this thing is fantastic. I do think they could have made this jimping a little bit more aggressive for the front flipper people, but I can still reliably get a front flip, so it's not that big of a deal. But, you know, I think if you're going to be putting jimping, especially for a deployment, it should be nice and grippy. And I think that has a lot to do with this being coated on top, because this version, that jimping is a good bit more grippy. So if that's an issue for you, you could go with the Nitro V version. But as far as the Nitro V version, I don't like the fact that it's a blasted blade. I would have much preferred a raw stone wash finish, because this one has a better chance of corroding on me. Now, it is tumbled and it is a very slick finish there, so we'll have to wait and see. Only time will tell that. So what are my final thoughts on the Pioneer? I think it's a very well made knife that performed well. It's nice and comfortable, and the action on this one is fantastic. If nothing that I talked about is a deal breaker for you, can I recommend it? Absolutely. Either one of them. You know, I prefer the linen micarta on this one because of the grippiness, and I prefer the action on this one and a little bit on the blade steel. This one's an S35. The action is fantastic on this one, but like I said, this one has more break-in time on it, so they'll probably be about the same once they've both been broken in, about the same. It doesn't bother me whether it's tie up here or aluminum. You know, that doesn't really matter to me on something like this. But pocket clip on both of them, in my opinion, is hideous. It does function well, though, as far as carryability. So, yeah, if you're interested in either one of these, I will have both versions linked down below in the description. If you have any questions in particular, feel free to ask me down below, and I'll do my best to get back with you. I hope every single one of y'all is having a fantastic day today. And remember, keep these blades sharp. Smile more. Peace.